What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with some breaking Seattle Mariners news. We have a trade. We have officially reached that point of the season. Deals are going down. Before I dive into this trade, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button for me. I think you will enjoy my Mariners content. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I'm going to be live tonight for the game against the Red Sox with Rooftop. So join us for that. I'm sure we will discuss this trade on there. The Mariners have sent closer relief pitcher Paul Sewald to the Arizona Diamondbacks for outfielder Dominic Canzone, infielder Josh Rojas, and minor league prospect shortstop Ryan Bliss. Now, not to toot my own horn, but if you go back and watch my video where I talked about the Giolito and Carlos Santana trade, I predicted Paul Sewald to the Diamondbacks. I don't know if I did it in that video or if I did it in another one, but I did predict Paul Sewald to Arizona. It made a ton of sense with the Mariners being in Arizona this weekend that Sewald may end up being an Arizona Diamondback. So I did predict that. Again, not a crazy deal. Diamondbacks need bullpen help. The Mariners had Paul Sewald. I also talked about Dominic Canzone. Now, I had to dig to find his name. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but if you remember, I went through and talked about it, and that was a name that I liked. I talked about Canzone a lot, or I mentioned him. He was one of the guys I predicted. I actually did briefly mention Josh Rojas as well. I didn't really dive into it, but it was a name I said would be interesting. So I have no insight, but it seemed like a match that was well suited. And I might be in the minority on this. I really like this return for the Seattle Mariners. And I don't believe it means they're necessarily punting this year either, to be perfectly honest. And I'll get into it a little bit here. One, guys, bullpens are the easiest. Of all the things to build in baseball, bullpens are the easiest to build. Look at Paul Sewald. Paul Sewald was a New York Mets castoff that was a street free agent that was sitting in the minors for the Mariners for 2 months before getting called up and proved to be a huge asset. Absolutely. The bullpen is worse. Now, the deadline's not over either, guys. They can still go out and get other moves done too. But pretty much everybody in that bullpen, minus maybe Brash, who was a legitimate starting pitching prospect, then moved to the bullpen, and Munoz was a legitimate arm weapon prospect. But other than that, the rest of the bullpen is cast-offs. That's what bullpens are made up of. There's Paul Sewalds out there. There are guys, and this team has proven that it's able to find these guys. So I'm not too concerned about losing Paul Sewald. Yes, I do think if you're just looking at this move and nothing else, yeah, it's going to hurt the bullpen, but I think you do have arms capable of getting outs in the ninth inning. And this is a good return. Guys, this is a really good return for a relief pitcher. It is a seller's market right now, and I think Jerry did a good job to go out there and get value for that. Let's start with Dominic Canzone, who I think is probably obviously the highlight of this deal. 2 of these 3 guys are going to be up right away in the big leagues. To get 2 guys that are going to be immediate possible impact players for your big league roster for reliever is huge. There were times when closers got you maybe a live arm somewhere in a farm system or guys that were a couple years away. This is impact bats. Canzone is 25, has a 1.065 OPS in the minors in 2023 and a career 933 minor league OPS. I'm going to say it, he gives me a little bit of Mitch Haniger vibes. It really does. I like Canzone. We saw him this weekend. He looked pretty good. Now, he hasn't been off to a super impressive start in the big leagues this year. He has 39 at-bats and a 681 OPS or 661. So nothing that, it's 38 at-bats. Can't judge it too much. But a left-handed bat that's immediately going to come in and play against right-handers. Gives this team outfield depth if they decide to trade Teoscar Hernandez. I think there's a very good chance Canzone is already better than Hernandez. I'm not sure how he grades out defensively. He's young enough and looks athletic enough. I can't imagine he's a negative defender. I would think worst case is he's average to slightly above average. But this is someone that's going to come up immediately and make an impact. It is not crazy, and you guys can yell at me for this and say, Jay, you're an idiot. It is not crazy that Canzone has more value than Paul Sewald the rest of the season. It's not. If Canzone amassed more WAR than Sewald the rest of the year, would not totally shock me. It really wouldn't. And Canzone's under club control. I don't know exactly how long. I kind of came on here and made the video right away, but I imagine for a very long time. Probably not as long as some other minor leaguers because he is 25, but I do get some Mitch Haniger vibes. And if you get Mitch Haniger for Paul Sewald, that is a massive, massive win. Now, not saying he's going to do that. There's a reason that guys like, Mitch Haniger cost you Segura and Taijuan Walker. That's a much bigger haul than just Paul Sewald. So I'm not saying like, oh, Canzone's Mitch Haniger, but I do get some of those vibes. I like the Josh Rojas addition. He has not been good this year. I'll be very clear. This has not been a good year for Josh Rojas. But in 2021, he had an OPS plus of 103. In 2022, he had an OPS plus of 112. He's left-handed. He can play second base. So all of a sudden, you can get Colton Wong off this roster pretty quick. And even if Josh Rojas gives you what he's given you this year, which is like a 589 OPS, that's better than Colton Wong this year. So you've technically made second base better. He can play all over the infield, can play third base as well for you. He may even be able to play a little bit of outfield. Listen, Rojas is not sexy, but that's what I talked about this team. They're not going to go out and get guys that are like, they're not going to get these super, super big names. But Rojas helps. This is someone that can fill a utility role for them. This is someone that can automatically step in. You can DFA Colton Wong, and your roster is now better. And that's if you're getting 2023 Josh Rojas. If you can get anything resembling 2021 and 2022, you have a major upgrade at second base immediately with Rojas. Now, Rojas is 29. He's not a prospect or anything like that. And like I said, he's had a down year this year, but even his down year is better than Colton Wong. So that alone is an upgrade. Ryan Bliss is interesting. 29th ranked prospect in the Diamondbacks organization, 947 OPS this year. Now, again, these numbers are in the PCL, which we know is a hitter's league. So that for Canzone as well. But Bliss is a legitimate prospect. Like, is he a stud, top 5? No, but this is not a nobody. And I don't know a ton about him, but considering you got Canzone and Rojas, I think it's a great addition to have Bliss in there. I know people aren't going to like this deal. I know they're not, because it makes you people think that this team is punting 2023. I don't think they are. I don't think this deal punts 2023. I think there's possibly more moves to come. I, again, would not be shocked if they tried to move Teoscar and Ty France and look to go get someone like Mark Canha. There's things you can do, and I talked about it. This, I said this is what this team's going to do. They're going to do some selling. They're going to do some buying. This move alone is sort of similar to that. My dog just has to bark during every video, doesn't she? Have we had a video where she has not barked at something? But this move's kind of the same. Like I said, guys, I would not be totally shocked if Dominic Canzone has more value in this last 58 games than Paul Sewald. Sewald's a reliever. They're only as good as you can get them to the 9th inning. You know what I mean? And that's not taking away from Paul. I love Paul. From a standpoint of like, this team, it sucks. Like, and I'm sure this isn't going to go over great in the clubhouse necessarily, but you know what? That's on the players. Then they should have won more games in April and May if they don't like it. The bottom line is it's a business, so they've got to get over it. Like, I mean, it probably sucks for them, but I don't have too much sympathy in terms of, oh, poor them. Like, get over it. I like the deal. I do. I really like Dominic Canzone. Now, that could come back to bite me in the butt. In a couple of years, he might be trash. I don't know. But I think you guys are going to like him and give him a chance. I'm telling you, give this guy a chance. I think he's going to be a pretty decent player. It also helps fill the void of Jared Kelenic. Breaking his foot and probably out for the season as well. So Canzone can come in and fill that role as well. This has been a seller's market. We saw what Kendall Graveman got. You saw what David Robertson got. We saw what Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez got. The Mariners are 4.5 out. I'm not giving up on the season. I still think they can get in. I do. I don't think this necessarily means this 2023 season is punted. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't believe it is. I still think they can go out and get another reliever somewhere and add to the bullpen to kind of make up for the loss of Paul. I don't think you're going to replace Paul. I think Paul's one of the better relievers in the American League. But I think you can make some additions to offset it. And I think this is a good return. I really do. I think this, in fact, I think this is a great return. Now, for the Diamondbacks perspective, I think it's fine too. I think this can be a win-win. I think Arizona's a team that's on the verge of making the playoffs. Their bullpen is really hurting. Paul Sewald's going to help that bullpen tremendously. So if you're a Diamondbacks fan watching this, I do not think this is like a bad trade from your standpoint. I really don't. I think you're going for it. I don't think you gave up very many high-level prospects here, so I think you're okay with it. And maybe I like this deal more because I kind of predicted it a little bit, so maybe I'm like, oh, hey, look what I did. Not that this was anything crazy to call. I think a lot of people thought Arizona was a possible destination for Paul. But yeah, I think this is a good deal for the Mariners. I do. You can build bullpens easily. throughout the years, this team has been able to build bullpens from guys that are, I don't want to say nobodies, but like, think of how many successful relievers have come through here that are just dudes that came off. Tom Wilhelmsen had great years. The guy was bartending in Tucson. Danny Farquhar came up. He was a throw-in in a trade with the Yankees for somebody. I don't even remember who. They picked up Anthony Bass off the streets a few years ago, and he was decent. Paul Sewald was picked up off the streets and was decent. Justin Topa was DFA'd in Milwaukee and traded, and Gabe Spire was let go by the Royals. He's been productive. Saucedo's been DFA'd. He's been solid. You've got Prelander Baroa. Devin Sweet is actually still up on the big league club right now. So I can't get too up in arms about trading bullpen pieces. I can't. It's the easiest positions to fill on a major league roster. It is. That doesn't mean you can't go out there and get guys. I'm not against trading for bullpen arms. If this team was 5 games up at a playoff spot, would I have done this trade? Probably not. But I also I'm going to be honest, I still wouldn't have been 100% against it. I honestly wouldn't. I like this return that much. And you can come back to this video in 3 years, and I could be wrong. I liked the Kendall Graveman trade, so who the hell knows what I know? You know what I mean? So it's, let me just getting a phone call there. Hopefully that didn't pause the video. But, I'm not an expert on this, but I do like the return. We'll see what ends up happening. I imagine tomorrow Rojas and Canzone will be in the majors. We'll see if more trades are done, so I don't want to predict roster moves. Wouldn't be shocked if Colton Wong is gone, but they could still do some other things here in the next couple days to move guys around. So I don't think anything is necessarily set in stone right now, and I don't think either will be up tonight with the big league club, but you never know. You never know. So I like the return. I get people being frustrated with the trade. I don't think this necessarily means they're punting 2023. And if they do, they're still a decent ways back. I'm not giving up, but they should have won more games in April and May then. So, put it on them. Put it on them for not doing it. This market has been a huge seller's market. Jerry looked at that and made a really solid trade, in my opinion, to get guys back. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, hate, love the trade. Hey, I'm open to all things. I totally respect if you don't like it. I do understand people's frustration. I'm just trying to tell you guys, take a deep breath on it. I'm not making this as a haha, told you they're trading Paul. I'm making this video as a don't panic. I don't think this is a bad move. I don't think it punts this season at all. And I think you're going to really like this move going forward. Have a great one, everybody. I'll see you guys tonight for the game. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.